Morning, Gunther.
Morning, Sunas. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. And you?
I'm good myself, man. Sunas,
Okay.
who's gonna fly the presentation? The department.
They must do it. Yeah, let them do it. Unless we come to the minutes, we can do it. But what I was gonna ask you, I made you co-host, nah?
Coast. Okay.
Okay.
So are we gonna do the minutes today?
After the presentation.
Okay. So
I'll
all the
just
minutes we're gonna.
resend. I'll let just resend it to them. We may not have to flight it, man. They will have it. I'll just resend it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Wow.
Good morning, honorable members and colleagues from the SCI. Shanaz, can we please check if we are good to start the meeting?
Good morning, and everybody on the platform. Chair, we're sufficient members to start the meeting. I'm sure the others will still join, but we're enough to start the meeting, so we can go ahead, Chair.
Can you please flag the agenda? Greetings, honorable members and colleagues from the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation. Welcome to our portfolio committee meeting. We had agreed that we are going to take this moment to create space for the white paper and the decadal plan presentations. And today we meet once more to receive presentations from on the white paper and the decadal plan. Our agenda is as follows. It's welcome. Shanaz, can we have a... Okay. It's welcome and introduction. It's apologies, consideration. Then it's a briefing by the department on the white paper, and then and the decadal plan, and then we will take both of them at once and have questions and discussions. From there, we will have committee business and deal with the minutes of the previous meetings. Can I have a mover for the adoption of the agenda? Honorable members? Honorable Sapo?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, and good morning to you and honorable members and the officials from the department. I move for the adoption of the agenda, Chair. Thanks.
Thank you, Honorable Sapo. Honorable Mazoni?
Morning, Honourable Chair, morning members and the committee. I second the adoption of the agenda.
Thank you, honorable members. The agenda has been duly adopted and seconded. We are going to do brief introductions. I don't think they are necessary because we've introduced each other on this platform. I think it will be better when you are speaking, you just mention that I am Tsakana, Honorable Shiviti, and this is what, and then you proceed. We're going to go for apologies. Shanaz, do we have apologies?
Unmute. Chair?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
So the apologies we received were from the minister who's abroad on official business, and then the deputy minister is attending cabinet within Cape Town. Thank you, Chair. Those were the only two apologies from the ministry, and I have not received any from members. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretariat. We are going to briefly move to Shanas, can you present her, please? Okay, we're going to move to a presentation on white paper. Shanas, can you please assist us? The
Acting DG is here, so I'm sure you will flight the presentation. Acting DG.
Yes, I will do so. Good morning, Honourable Chair, Honourable Members.
Good morning, Acting DG. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair, Honourable Members, and thank you indeed for this opportunity to present to the committee, as we discussed during the orientation sessions, really the background to the policy context of the work which underpins the work which is being done by the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation. And Shanas, I just want to check, are my slides showing correctly?
Yes, yes. DG.
Thank you very much. Also, Honourable Chair, Honourable Members, as it was noted, the apologies from our Minister and our Deputy Minister, and I just want to reiterate to you their good wishes and also their appreciation for the ongoing support and engagement we enjoy with the committee. So today is really a background presentation. During the various sessions we've already had with the committee, there was often been reference to the white paper and specifically to the 10-year Decadal plan for science, technology and innovation. So therefore, it's only appropriate as we can continue with our work during this administration to delve in more detail on what these two major policy and strategy documents are all about. It's quite a lengthy presentation, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members, 78 slides in total. I'm not going to speak in detail to all of those slides. I mean, we submitted the full presentation for background in order to be comprehensive, but I will try and focus on the key strategic aspects, and that also then gives us ample time for discussion. So the presentation is going to be really articulated around three parts. We're going to start with just spending a bit of time on a concept which we in the department often takes for granted that everyone is familiar with it, but we shouldn't. But it's really sort of the bedrock of our science, technology and innovation policy thinking in South Africa, and that is the national system of innovation. So we're going to spend a bit of time just unpacking what this policy concept is and look also at its performance. Then we will go into the white paper, which was adopted by Cabinet in 2019. This was the second white paper on science, technology and innovation in democratic South Africa. And then we will conclude by looking at a 10-year plan, the Decadal plan, adopted by Cabinet at the end of 2022, which really becomes the primary implementation instrument for the white paper. So let's start by looking at the concept of the national system of innovation. So this is not a uniquely South African concept. It was in the mid-90s when we became a democracy, and for the first time as a country had to reflect on what role should science, technology and innovation play in a democratic South Africa, in a country where science, technology and innovation should work for all South Africans. This was really a popular concept, and therefore that very first white paper adopted in 1996 introduced then the national system of innovation, almost like, if you'd like, the organizing framework for our thinking on science, technology and innovation. And what this is really all about is to emphasize it's a system. So it's not, and science, technology and innovation work through relations, through collaboration and through connections. So our national system of innovation is there for everyone and anyone, whether in the public or the private sector who is engaged with the business of science, technology, and innovation, who either initiate, who import, or modify, or diffuse into the economy new technologies. So the NSI really is all of us. It's business, it's government, it's academia, and it's civil society. So that's what we refer to by this national system of innovation. And our role in government, specifically in the DSI, is really to ensure that we, in a sense, becomes the custodian of the system of innovation, to ensure that it's efficiently coordinated, that it's cohesive, and indeed responsive to the need of all South Africans. So it is, again, as I've emphasized the point, it's a system which comprises everyone, not only at a national level, but also with very strong interfaces with, for example, provincial and local systems of innovation. This is an old slide, which was done by the presidency a few years ago. So you'll see, for example, it lists 23 universities. Of course, we have 26 universities. Several of the government departments have changed names subsequently. But if we look at the organizing framework, so of course at a policy-making level, we have government, cabinet, and parliament. We have various advisory bodies, such as the National Advisory Council on Innovation or the Academy of Science of South Africa, all who are bodies who've already presented to this committee, which then provides input on science, technology, and innovation policy advice. And then we've got a whole range of public and private sector actors, universities, science councils, and industry who performs our R&D. And this organizing framework makes up then this national system of innovation. Now, of course, I mean, science, technology, and innovation has to respond to both global and national developments, such as, for example, rapid technological change, one of the key disruptors of our times, climate change and environmental degradation, geopolitical instability, the protracted inequality between nations, and then our own challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. So it's very important that when we look at this national system of innovation, that we always understand both the global and the national context and which is operating. And then, of course, there is no area of society, of societal engagement, economic activity, which is untouched, which is left untouched by the impact of science, technology, and innovation. And what you have on screen there is the example of artificial intelligence. Another example which we can use when you want to understand these systems, this interface between technology and society, is, for example, to look at mobility, about transport systems, where there's a whole range of interfaces between energy infrastructure, between industry infrastructure, between the regulatory framework, etc. So in order for science, technology, and innovation to make a difference in society, it's important that all these systems and relations are in place. So what we have at the next slide here, this figures which are sadly familiar to us. These are our poverty trends. And of course, the national system of innovation is very much rooted into trying to make a contribution in the fight against poverty. Also, if we look at most recently, the Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan and its thematic interventions, all of them involved and foresaw a very important role, whether it's energy security, whether it's the strengthening of food security, whether it's infrastructure investment for science, technology, and innovation. Of course, we also have a trend of a greater digitization of government, greater deployment of e-government, which is another important dimension of the national system of innovation. We could look at also access to internet. So that's the context. So we're not in an ivory tower. We're not in isolation of what's happening in the economy and society. And the role of the national system of innovation should always be looked at through that lens. But then how is the national system of innovation performed? And of course, we are celebrating 30 years of democracy, so it's an appropriate time to have this look at performance. And what honourable members, honourable chair, what you see there on the slide is measuring how countries, both in terms of their human capital, researchers per thousand of employment, that's on the vertical axis, and on the horizontal axis is our gross domestic expenditure in R&D as a percentage of GDP, which shows that there is clearly still a significant amount of work left to move us both up and further to the right on those axes. We have had several targets. There's always been a very strong policy commitment to increase our national expenditure on our R&D. Currently, our target is to the aspirational target, which is in our policy documents, and we've spoken to this committee about before, is to achieve 1.5%. By 2030, we are significantly lower than that target in 2024. And it's very clear that we will not achieve this target. And if it's business as usual, there will need to be a significant disruption of the way we do it, not only in terms of increasing government's investment, but also incentivizing and encouraging greater investment by the private sector. And this will indeed an important work for this administration and area of engagement. We look forward to engage with the committee in the coming years, because as you see here, after making some progress towards the 1% over the past decade, with the economic downturn, we are now much closer to 0.6% than we are even to the 1%. But the statement of intent is one of ambition, is one of positivity, and that is to continue to work to progress this investment. This is just a comparison of where we are, and the honourable members will see, yes, we are perhaps quite far behind some of the leading knowledge economies of the world, the likes of Korea, Japan, and China. But yeah, South Africa should really be much closer to economies of the likes of perhaps Turkey and Poland and Spain. This is just an indication of the R&D expenditure by different sectors. Now, the worrying trend here is the yellow on line, which is the business expenditure, which honourable members would have seen since 2016 has been on a downward trajectory. There are different reasons for that, and it's an area we can engage with in more detail, but that clearly has to be corrected if we are going to grow the overall South African investment in R&D. Of course, we often speak about transformation, and transformation is an unequivocal objective for the department and for the government of science, technology and innovation. And part of that transformation is also to address some of the geographic inequities in the distribution of R&D activity. Of course, R&D also follows a major economic activity, so it's perhaps not surprising that most of our R&D expenditure happens in Gauteng, followed by the Western Cape. But clearly, part of the work and the effort required to increase our overall investment in R&D will also require, looking at these, increasing the activity in other provinces. The department also monitors the science and technology activities, or STA as we call them, of other government departments, and because of course there are many departments which are science, technology and innovation intensive programs, and what you see in the screen is an overview of this. This is work which is a high priority for us in terms of better, more important budget coordination between different government departments to make sure that these investments by sister government departments increase and becomes more efficient. But it's, of course, another important component, and perhaps the most important component, a resource for the national system of innovation, is the number of researchers, the workforce. And here, honorable members will also note that after consistent growth for many years, there's also been in recent years a downward trend, both in terms of the total as well as the researchers per thousand of employment, which then also suggests and recommends another important urgent area of intervention, which is required from the department, both in terms of increasing then the investment in R&D, but also the science, technology, and innovation workforce. I earlier spoke about transformation in the system. The Decadal plan, and we'll come to that, has a dedicated transformation focus. Honorable members, what we have on the screen there is the racial demographic makeup of our science, technology, and innovation workforce. Clearly, there still a significant amount of work required because these makeups do not reflect our population. This gives an overview of where our researchers are employed. So the vast majority are in higher education. I mean, that's main source of our research output, higher universities. But again, worryingly, honorable members will note that the percentage share of business has been dropping consistently now for more than a decade, which just again also mirrors the business investment in R&D. This slide just gives a makeup of our knowledge, well, the sort of the profile of academic staff vis-a-vis the undergraduate enrollments, where there's the increase in undergraduate enrollments was not necessarily matched by certainly the academic staff. And working with the DHET, that's another area of intervention. This is the percentage of staff with PhDs, which is another important area. Some progress has been made, and there will continue to be investment. This is all about just ensuring that we strengthen the knowledge and the training workforce in our higher education system. Science, we often like to say, is all about collaboration. That's the way knowledge progresses. And this is an area in which South Africa is doing well. We have seen an increase in international collaboration and a decrease in the number of researchers who I mean, of course, the main output of our research sort of enterprise are often what we use is to look at publications, and if you look at the authors of those publications, those that are written by single authors is on a decline, which shows that South Africa is intensifying our collaboration in science. This slide looks at the S&T graduates as a percentage of all graduates. It's more or less stable. What we do know is that this percentage has to increase. I mean, it's also very important that those coming through our higher education system respond to the needs of our economy. And if our ambition is to develop a vibrant and a leading knowledge innovation economy, then the percentage of S&T graduates certainly significantly has to increase. I think this is a slide which we can celebrate. And this is South Africa's world share of publications in internationally peer-reviewed journals, where at the beginning of this century, we were at about 0.4% of the world share, and we're now close to 1%. So this is, I think, a celebration, justifiably, of democratic South Africa and our performance on how we perform on the global science stage, where we do punch, to use that sporting expression, where we punch above our weight. So I think this is certainly a very much a good news slide. And then this slide look at our publication output, so the number of publications produced per million of a population. And this has also been seen a significant increase, and this is far above the global average, which again just confirms that for the size of our economy, the South African science system is doing extremely well. But of course, the science, technology, and innovation output is not only about research publications. If we look at the enterprise of translating knowledge into products and services, then of course intellectual property patenting is an important part of that aspect. And what the honorable members will see on this slide is that there's not really been that perhaps the growth we would have wanted in patenting in some key technology areas such as digital, nano, and biotech. So most recently, and I'm sure this will be a subject for future engagement with the committee, as recent as 10 days ago, the National Advisory Council of Innovation released its indicators report for 2024. And some of the highlights from that report is that we are seeing an improvement in our the volume of our human resources for science, technology, and innovation. The slides I spoke about our research output, which confirm that our research excellence is increasing. We've seen important investments in research and digital infrastructure for the research enterprise. And this speaks to the last slide I spoke about, patenting activity is not only stable, but probably even declining. And also we see a decrease in research intensity. And also worryingly, for an innovation economy, the venture capital investment is diminishing. So honorable members, what I've done for this, and we're now 1/3 of the way through, was to hopefully just share it with you the background on what this concept of the National System of Innovation is. We looked at its socio and economic context in which it's functioning. And then with these last slides, just gave you insight into its performance. So that sketched then the background for looking at the 2019 white paper. As said earlier, the first white paper was adopted by Cabinet in 1996. And therefore, 20 years later, at the time when the work started, it was important to look at what should be the role for science, technology, and innovation then in the third decade of South Africa's democracy. And that was then the motivation which led to the preparation of the new white paper, the impact of rapid technological change and an evolving socio and technology context. And the context was really one that despite the good progress made, that the overall innovation performance was still poor. In our assessment, the National System of Innovation had insufficient human resources and underfunded. And the white paper then really was a response to respond to this challenge and unleash the full potential of science, technology, and innovation to contribute to South Africa's development challenges. And that really is the motto, or if you'd like, the mission statement of the white paper. It's to say, how do we make science, technology, and innovation work to enable inclusive, sustainable South African development in a changing world? So there was a whole range of analysis, reviews, and studies which informed the preparation of this white paper, which sketched out the high-level long-term policy intents. And that, of course, then laid the foundation for our decadal plan, the 10-year plan. So the main objectives of the white paper, 5 of them, first of all, was to make sure that we ensure that the governance of this national system of innovation is more enabling and becomes more inclusive, so that the system of innovation better responds to the needs of South Africa. We identified, of course, the innovation challenge And therefore, the white paper had a very specific focus to make South Africa a more enabling environment for innovation and facilitate the innovation enterprise in South Africa, because that was the challenge. We may have been doing well with research, but struggling with innovation. Insufficient human resources was identified. So the white paper has the policy intent to increase and transform the human resource base of the National System of Innovation, to work to expand and transform the research system. And then, as the consensus was that the system is underfunded, to increase funding and work towards greater funding efficiencies. So the white paper then laid the foundation for a new governance framework to improve the coherence and the coordination of the National System of Innovation, which was introduced by the Decadal Plan. This concludes an annual plenary meeting, which is chaired by our president, which brings together leaders of the public, private sector, academia, civil society, to engage on critical science, technology, and innovation priorities. This is underpinned by a dedicated interministerial committee for science, technology, and innovation, and we'll talk a bit more about that a bit later, and then various sector plans. And then cross-cutting through all of this is to improve the monitoring, the evaluation, and the learning function. So the white paper clearly sets out these policy intents. Enabling innovation. First of all, we recognize that we need to work at the innovation culture in South Africa, that we need to develop a culture which celebrates innovation and views innovation indeed as the positive disruptor. So the white paper has specific intent to strengthen the innovation culture. Also to identify priorities which are critical for South Africa's economic well-being, the security of our state, and to focus in investment on those priorities. We know that innovation works through also incentives, and that's a key role of government. And so the white paper has very specific intents on how we harmonize and make more efficient the different innovation incentives available to our innovators. As I said at the beginning, the National System of Innovation has as a crucial component also the provincial and local level innovation. So the white paper has a specific policy intent to integrate provincial and local level innovation into the National System of Innovation, and as part of an inclusive focus to also support grassroots and social innovators. This all requires also dedicated support for technology transfer, and that we need to invest in building the institutional capacity for technology transfer. Similarly, have dedicated support available for R&D in the business sector, including support for the adoption of locally developed technologies. So that was the policy response to the innovation challenge. The white paper also sets then the objective that we should expand and transform the research system. And this looks notably at unlocking the potential of our historically disadvantaged institutions and individuals, and a group which we can refer to as the silent majority. These are staff at our institutions who are not currently engaged in research. So a very clear focus on transformation. But the transformation also doesn't only look at people and institutions, it's also looking at what do we fund, what research do we fund, and that also includes therefore a transformation of the South African research agenda to be more stronger focused and linked to South Africa's development priorities, whilst never neglecting at the same time our support for basic and inter and transdisciplinary research, as well as a continued focus on social science and humanities. Very important for the research system is also our investment in research infrastructure, including digital infrastructure. Now, research infrastructure, well, it's for example, supercomputers, it's huge data sets, it's research equipment, and this is an important investment area for the department. I'm on which we will certainly brief the committee in more detail in months to come. The other focus of the white paper is to increase the pipeline of our human capital development in the STEM areas. It is to the COEs and SARCHs, apologies for the acronyms. This is our Centers of Excellence and our South African Research Chairs. They all play a very crucial role in developing human capital for science, technology in South Africa. So the white paper sketched the intent for them to be expanded. There's a focus on specifically more opportunity for women and emerging researchers. And as I've said at the beginning, to really unleash the potential of both our historically disadvantaged institutions and our universities of technology. And then the white paper sets a number of goals to increase funding and improve funding efficiencies. This includes establishing what we refer to as a sovereign innovation fund, accessing previously untapped funding sources. Corporate social investment is an example, enhancing the coordination with other government departments for their investment in science, technology, and innovation. Again, the focus on partnership of provincial and local government departments, and also foreign investment. And we'll say a bit more about the work being done in this regard, a big focus on the public budget coordination, working with the National Treasury and the Department of Policy Monitoring and Evaluation. Transformation is included in all the policy intents of the white paper. So the white paper, and honorable members were provided with a copy of the white paper. I mean, it's really structured around these policy intents. So specific focus areas, transformation, agenda framework. If we look at transformation of the economy, it's looking at how we use IP from public funded R&D to help to transform the ownership profile. I spoke before about the spatial footprint of the innovation. Also, very strong focus on increasing the role of civil society in the national system of innovation and support for indigenous knowledge. So the white paper was a shift. It was a paradigm shift, if you'd like, from the 1996 white paper. In 1996, our task was to develop the national system of innovation. And then in 2019, to put it sort of in a summary way, the focus is how do we make this national system of innovation work to impact on South Africa's priority. The white paper, therefore, very deliberately increases a much stronger focus on innovation. It's a whole of society approach. We spoke about the innovation culture. It's all about partnerships across government, with business, with civil society, and it deliberately seeks to enhance the governance of the national system of innovation. And also, very importantly, for a knowledge-driven area of work and department, it emphasizes the need of research and monitoring and evaluation to inform policy development. And then there's also the focus on funding. So this leads us then, Honourable Chair, Honourable Members, I see I've got about 20 minutes left, to the Decadal plan. So it's the last and third component of our presentation this morning. Just to recall, we started with looking at what is this national system of innovation, then looking at the white paper, which sought to sketch the strategic intents and priorities for the national system of innovation in this phase of South Africa. And now the Decadal plan is really the implementation plan. So after the white paper follows the Decadal plan and the implementation plan. And again, the philosophy is one we have spoken about now already. Over main objective, maximum impact from this national system of innovation to advance South Africa. We recognize the pockets of excellence, and I spoke about some of the success stories, but there is clearly a need that through this Decadal plan, we should further develop the national system of innovation to support our institutions. Very importantly, we sometimes can be mistaken for a department of just the hard sciences of the technology. The Decadal plan very deliberately ensures that the social sciences is mainstreamed in all of our programs because this is imperative for science, technology, and innovation to address the complexity of all the challenges South Africa has faced. I mean, as a good example, there's a very deliberate focus, therefore, on just transition. When we speak about our interventions, whether it's in health, education, and energy. So the Decadal plan introduces a number of thematic science, technology, and innovation priorities, as well as societal grand challenges to inform our work. Now, these priorities and grand challenges were informed by a comprehensive foresight exercise, which was undertaken by our National Advisory Council on Innovation, which covered a number of areas. So first of all, there's the societal grand challenges, which is the organizing framework for key priorities, obviously climate change and sustainability. There is a number of ongoing work engagements in these areas. For example, there's a roadmap for climate adaptation. There are initiatives on the scientific response to extreme climate events. So this has been historically and will be continue to be an important area for investment in South Africa. Of course, we live in an age where education and skills and work are disrupted rather by the impact of technology, societal evolution. So some of the interventions from the department here is, for example, to look at the Human Resource Development Observatory. This is then advice, scientific evidence, data-driven advice on to inform our human resource development strategies, or to, for example, support EdTech, education technology in South Africa. The future of society, it's our role at the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation to anticipate and prepare for that future of society. And this includes a whole range of interventions, looking at, for example, dedicated poverty, inequality, and unemployment-related research. How do we use public employment to respond to the unemployment challenges? Or, for example, looking at gender-based violence. That's what a Transforming Mentalities program is all about. On what is how can we change the attitudes of young men, specifically with regard to gender, the gender-based violence. There's also a large STI, science, technology, and innovation programs introduced. I mean, the key focus of the Decadal plan is not the technology per se, but it's really the societal challenge we need to respond to. So the societal challenge is that of ensuring South Africa has a healthy population. That requires science, technology, and innovation investments across a whole range of areas, whether it's pandemic infectious disease, whether it is non-communicable diseases, whether it is aspects of mental health, for example, and it includes a comprehensive response of the life sciences, of the social sciences, and also our indigenous knowledge system. Innovation for energy security is a similar challenge, and here we're looking at interventions to, for example, support the just transition through investment in renewable clean energy, also clean coal energy, but also just understanding the dynamics of energy support for poor and rural communities. And then a third challenge, that is innovation for, challenge rather, program, innovation for a capable and inclusive state. We know this is also an important priority in the medium-term development plan, and this relates to how we use different science and technology platforms, for example, Earth observation data, to support policy and decision-making across all areas of government. So the Decadal plan then also takes forward our work to grow and further transform the science system. This, for example, will look at the introduction of new institutes as a support instrument, the further development of our research infrastructure, the further transformation of the demographics of our knowledge system, and very deliberately advancing indigenous knowledge systems development. And by science engagement, we really just emphasize that this is a Decadal plan, which is not a plan of government, it's not a plan of the DSI, it's a plan of all of society. And therefore, we really need to build that national consensus on the importance of science. So, I mean, one of our flagship investment areas is in the development of the hydrogen economy. And a good example of this sort of public-private partnerships across different areas is the work to develop a so-called hydrogen valleys, which will bring producers as well as users of the green hydrogen and as well as opportunities for deployment of South African technology. So when we look at economic growth and the Decadal Plan's response to that, there's two main areas of intervention. First of all, to support the so-called new sources of growth, and we're looking at a circular and the digital economy, but at the same time, continue to invest in making sure that the mainstays of the South African economy, like agriculture, mining, and manufacturing, is enhanced in their competitiveness through science, technology, and innovation. And for all these areas, we have then very deliberate interventions where we work in partnership with sister departments, such as, for example, the National Department of Agriculture in this instance, which look at various science, technology, and platforms, whether it's for agro-processing, for support to small-scale farmers, for animal improvement, crop, plant improvement. So, I mean, hopefully, honorable members, you will see what's reflected here is that systems approach through a whole range of interventions and partnerships responding to the key societal challenges. So the Decadal Plan requires a number of enablers. We spoke before that it's now about translating this objective of the white paper for policy coherence and program coordination through enhanced governance. And that includes, for example, then this creation of what I referred to earlier as the Science and Innovation Presidential Plenary, supported by an interministerial committee. And they engage then on key policy and other decisions required to unleash the potential of science, technology, and innovation, which is included with outcomes then included in a compact. So we have the Presidential Science and Innovation Plenary, which makes high-level pronouncements on a whole of society, science, technology, and innovation agenda. Also embodies joint commitments of funding at a governmental level. This is supported by the Interministerial Committee, which sets that agenda for science, technology, and innovation across government, and importantly also would improve Decadal implementation plans for key priority areas, and also look at how we better coordinate the science, technology, and innovation funding. And it's, of course, the Department of Science and Innovation's role to support these different structures. So the governance principles is very important, that it's about partnership, it's multidisciplinary, a partnership between government, industry, academia, and civil society. It is these science, technology, and innovation priorities being implemented, working very closely with other relevant structures, such as our Presidential Commission on Climate Change, for example, other relevant government departments, and then with science, what we refer to as science, technology, and innovation intensive line departments. Let's look at, for example, the Department of Mineral Resources and Petroleum. So for science and technology and innovation strategy for that sector, they would be in the lead. I referred to earlier that the work of the Interministerial Committee and then the Presidential Plenary results in what is referred to as the Innovation and Skills Compact. This will help us to deal with policy coherence, deals with aspects of policy and certainty, improve coordination and avoid duplication of different initiatives, wasteful investment. But really, as the word compact suggests, it's all about a commitment of all actors to work together to enhance innovation. And as we said, those actors really includes everyone. So some of the priorities in the Innovation Compact is, for example, looking at interventions in education and skills development, Very importantly, how do we arrest the leakage of our intellectual property, which emanates from public funded R&D, but which is then not being commercialized for the benefit of South Africa. A very important area of policy intervention is how can we use public procurement and our large public procurement budgets to better support technology development and innovation in South Africa. And for example, looking at other key governance challenge, such as development of the artificial intelligence strategy and how it relates to ethical governance. But honorable members, honorable chairs, I mean, these policy intents, these objectives, of course, all require financial support. And we know that one of the key ways and how we can enhance funding for science, technology, and innovation in South Africa is to work towards improved budget coordination. So that's a major priority for the department, and it's to seek really that the different allocations which are made to different departments are aligned with national priorities, and this is then monitored through National Treasury and the Department of Policy Monitoring, Performance Monitoring and Evaluation. Because we know that the conclusion is damning, that there is generally inadequate funding for STI. And as STI cuts across all mandates, we really need to better coordinate funding for science, technology, and innovation, and therefore also make sure that funding is not reallocated to other priorities, because that is undermining our ability to invest in the system. So this is a very busy slide, Honourable Chair, honourable members. It refers to something which we refer to as the SMM, which is the Strategic Management Model for Science and Innovation across our government and funding. And it just really seeks to create a model for how the Department of Science and Innovation, other line departments, and the private sector work together in a dynamic way to jointly fund science, technology, and innovation in South Africa. And it's all about what we refer to here as this co-creation continuum, which is on the bottom slide there. What honourable members see on the top half of the diagram is the former model, where we sort of identified the former DST responsibility as emerging areas. Then there were sector-specific areas where other departments would lead, and areas which were more mature, which other departments almost led exclusively. I mean, what we are now saying is that this enterprise of research innovation is much more dynamic, and therefore we propose this co-creation continuum. So honourable members, honourable Chair, I'm coming to the end of the presentation. So hopefully what we've done is to spout or sketch how the Decadal plan becomes the implementation plan for the white paper. Now, the Decadal plan has already been adopted at the end of 2022, so it's very much work in progress. And what we will just do here is to sort of give an update on work happening. So we have had 3 meetings already of the Interministerial Committee on Science, Technology, and Innovation, which gave very specific output, notably on the professionalization of the public service. We also had a very successful first meeting of the presidential plenary at the end of last year, which President Ramaphosa chaired, and a number of engagements with the business and private sector, for example, on collaboration in areas such as energy security. And then there's a dedicated task team working with National Treasury and the DPME to include science, technology, and innovation priorities as part of the overall planning and budgeting processes of government. And this is a major breakthrough. And then honourable members will recall that we had said that one of the objectives or recommendations of the white paper was this establishment of what was then referred to as the Sovereign Innovation Fund. We're not using that terminology anymore. We have established the Innovation Fund, which has been making very important investments in technology-based SMEs. There's been a significant amount of work on the hydrogen sector, and we will in future certainly report to this committee on our progress of the implementation of the Hydrogen Society roadmap. When we are looking at that sector, the department is also supporting work to investigate the suitability of what we refer to as coal CO2X, which is really all about carbon capture and usage at our power stations, where we could, for example, convert the flue gas, coal-fired and industrial flue gas, into value-added products such as green ammonia and green hydrogen. So as a department, our role really here is to investigate and to make recommendations to the relevant authorities on the possible use of these technologies. Because of COVID-19, a huge momentum was provided for further investment in the health innovation, pharmaceutical innovation sector, and there's ongoing work on a vaccine innovation manufacturing strategy for South Africa, which we are due to report to this committee later in the year as part of a really an holistic focus on how do we develop homegrown pharmaceutical industry. This is important not only for our making sure South Africa is we have our own capacity to respond to emerging health crises, but that we also create economic growth through investment in this sector. I spoke about the Innovation Fund. I mean, we've really adopted the model of investment with partners, such as the Technology Innovation Agency, such as the South African SME Fund, or the Public Investment Corporation. And what you see here, honorable members, what we are really, I think, proud of is the fact that the investment we've made has leveraged a far significant amount of co-investment by our partners. So honorable members do see the impact of which this investment has had, and we will report at future meetings more on the detail of the Innovation Fund. Also quite significant progress in how we deploy science, technology, and innovation in support of the capable state. So this includes interventions at basic service delivery. It includes the use of data, for example, to support policy and decision-making in a whole range of areas through our Data Policy Observatory. It can support innovation in the public sector and support for e-government, etc. This continues to be an important priority of the work. We have identified intellectual property and technology commercialization, of course, is one of the key challenges. So, of course, to make sure our interventions respond to those, there has been a comprehensive national survey of intellectual property and technology transfer at our public-funded research institutions, which and this evidence is now going to be the basis for our further strategy and involvement in order to make sure that South Africa, that we maximizes our return from these investments. I mean, one of the key sort of outcomes of this survey is the dire need for further funding for technology development, upscaling, and commercialization. There's this 500 million funding gap. So this is the type of, now that the problem has been identified, what informs our further policy and strategy funding. And the same applies in building the capacity, for example, to ensure intellectual property enforcement at our different institutions, because ultimately our goal is to ensure that we create an optimal environment for South African startup and spin-out companies to flourish and make the difference in the economy. So, honourable members, honourable chair, just concluded the 1 hour. What I've sought to do, therefore, was to provide background to the national system of innovation, hopefully assured you that we're very sensitive to both the local and global context in which we operate, and then look at its current levels of performance, which inform the formalization of the white paper and then the Decadal plan as its implementation plan, which will then guide our work in this administration, also under the leadership and the guidance of this committee. So I thank you, Honourable Chair and honourable members. I'm going to stop sharing the screen, and we look forward, therefore, to the further engagement with you this morning. Thank you. Yeah, I hope I'm audible. I just want to say, Honourable Chair, honourable members, that's concluded the presentation.
Thank you, Acting DDJ, for the quite enlightening presentation. We're going now to move to questions and deliberations by honourable members. Honourable members, do you have any takers? Honourable members? Honourable Songo?
Thank you very much, Chair, and greetings to the department. Chair, pardon me for entering the meeting very late because of my health issues. Chair, I would have loved that we would have given the department more time for this, because I believe and understand that these two papers, the white paper and the decadal plan, are already in action. It's things that were passed through the sixth administration. Ours was to get an understanding of what they are and what they do and intend to do, because it came from most entities coming into the portfolio committee and referring everything to the decadal plan. When we asked questions, they would say that it is there in the decadal plan. Every entity. That is why then we said, no, can the department come and present the decadal plan to us? But thank you very much, Acting DG, for that presentation. I think we now have an understanding as members of the seventh, administration in this new portfolio committee, and understanding everything that you've outlined, especially on the decadal plan. We really are clarified on what it intends to do, and mine would be on the monitoring and evaluation mechanism. How will the department monitor all this, the implementation of the decadal plan? As I say that every entity came into this portfolio committee and told us about the decadal plan. When asked questions about certain things, they just went, and it is there in the decadal plan. It is there in the decadal plan. So what is the department's mechanism in monitoring and evaluation of the decadal plan? Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Songo. I'm going to take Honourable Mazoni, Honourable Boshoff, Honourable Tumelo. It's which Tumelo? Honourable members.
Ramungalo.
Oh, Ramungal. Okay. All right. And then I'm trying to check. Is there any other hand that I'm missing? I see the three hands.
Yes, Chairperson.
Honourable Mazoni. Okay. Who's indicating the...
Honorable Ngosi.
Okay, Honourable Nkosi, you'll come after Honourable Ramungal. Are we all fine? Honorable members? Because I don't want to come back and note again. Honorable Sap, are you fine?
I'm fine, Chair. I'm fine.
Okay. Okay, we'll start with Honorable Mazzoni, and then followed by Honorable Boshoff, Honorable Ramungaro, and then Honorable Nkos. In that sequence, Honorable members. Honorable Mazzoni, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you for allowing me to keep my camera off. I'm also suffering from a bit of a health issue. Chair, my first point would be, obviously this decadal plan is an indication of where we're going forward and how things should be taken forward. But obviously with the advancements that are made in science and technology, we have to understand that this is a living document. So how often can we expect from the department to receive updates and amendments that have been made to the program that align with the constant changes and advancements made in technology and hopefully innovation in our country going forward? Also, Chair, a lot of emphasis was put on the fact that the patent and the intellectual property aspect is a worrying aspect to the department, and I'm wondering why. I mean, South Africa, it's quite easy to lodge a patent in South Africa. Is it due to high costs? Is it just due to a lack of? Is this part of the lack of innovation that we're concerned about? And how does the department see us rectifying that? How do we become a country where we are more interested in making sure that we have patents lodged in our country? Is there current legislation that's stopping that? Is there anything that we should be aware of? Because you know, that to me was quite a worrying trend. Then, Chair, my last point on this would be there seems to be a lot of cross-pollination between ourselves. It would seem the Department of Energy, and it would certainly seem the Department of Communication, in terms of what we've spoken about with AI regulation and in terms of the hydrogen innovation, etc. Are we going to be seeing our departments having joint briefings and perhaps maybe even joint oversights, because it seems to me that the one can't operate without the other. So if I've got that wrong, please do correct me, but I see a very close correlation between a few of the portfolio committees, and I want to know how we're going to approach this going forward. Thank you.
Can I continue, Chair?
Yes, yes, Honorable Boshoff.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. No, I also wanted to return to the issue of the patents. I was wondering if it's possible, and I actually want the DG to just elaborate a little bit on that. Does it have to do with the nature of our science and technology? Well, what do we call it? Activities, that we are maybe more theoretical, more analytical, but that it doesn't come down to practical innovations. Honorable Mazzoni mentioned a few other possibilities, which I could also repeat, but she has already said that. So I just want us to reflect a little bit on what's happening here, because if I look at it correctly, that is where the whole system of innovation should translate into jobs and increased economic growth and so on. So do we maybe focus in a direction which doesn't in fact lead to that? Thank you very much, Chair.
Honorable Ramungaro.
Okay, thank you so much, Chair, and also welcome the presentation by the acting DG. I think my first question is also very similar to the one posed by my colleague, Honorable Mazzoni. And I would like to know from the acting DG is, like, are you happy with NSI, like in terms of legislation in its current form? Or maybe perhaps you would like it amended to respond to, say, the current needs of all South Africans? Is it okay in its current manifestation, or or does it speak to the current conditions of South Africa, or you would need for the legislation to be amended? In as much as, like my colleague said, it's a living document. And secondly, I'm also more interested with, understanding or knowing how translating scientific research has assisted with contributing to economic growth in South Africa. And, like, I think also I'm more also interested in knowing if we can be rest assured, or maybe if you can put us into confidence that moving forward, the new or upcoming science and innovation implementation plans will address key strategic sectors like, energy, agriculture, and health. Will these plans really be sustainable and assist or contribute to the GDP growth of our country? To simplify it, are you happy with the direction in which science, innovation, technology is moving into? And will it be beneficial for the economic growth and development of this country? Thank you.
Honorable Nkosi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Greetings to all honorables and also to our officials. Chairperson, and when I was listening to the presentation here, I've just picked up one theme that is very important, which the presenter probably spoke about just before ended up the presentation, which is the investment in the research and development, which is very important. The necessity of increasing the funding, advocating for both the private and the public sector investment. What I want to check, Chairperson, is that how will this funding be allocated? Is it going to be allocated effectively to ensure equitable distribution among different fields of study and various sectors of research and development? By that, I mean there is artificial intelligence, biotechnology, renewable energy. Now I had the presentation, there's also hydrogen innovations, etc. I wanted to check if that will be able to be allocated effectively, ensuring that there is equitable distribution among all different fields, Chair. Chair, also what I wanted to check, it is almost what Honorable Hlongo was speaking about earlier, Chairperson. What metrics will be used to measure the success of initiatives that we will be initiating as STI? Like determining the clear evaluation on the impact of those initiatives. What metrics will be used? That is what I could not get clear on the presentation, Chairperson. That will allow us a lot when it comes to accountability and transparency, so that we'll be able to see if we are doing things properly. Chairperson, also what I wanted to also speak about is the public perception on science and technology. I think, Chairperson, we need to also revisit our communication strategy, on which I think that is very important, so that we need to gain strong support from our people, our citizens. They can only understand or know about initiatives that we have as STI if we have a strong communication strategy. That is very important. I think also that we need to look at. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, honorable members. Honorable Ramungaro, is that a legacy hand? Honorable Ramungaro? Seems like a legacy hand. We are going to proceed, honorable members. Honorable members have posed a number of questions and they've deliberated. Acting DG, can you please take this opportunity to respond to honorable members?
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair, and in advance, really our appreciation to the honourable members for those insightful questions, which I really think frame a discussion on some of the key policy issues we have to deal with. Now, I am not alone on this platform. I'm very privileged that I'm joined by several DSI officials, including several members of our executive committee. So I'm going to ask them to respond to a number of these questions, and then I will conclude with some concluding remarks. And when I invite them, I will to speak. I'll also introduce them. So both the Honourable Shlongo and the Honourable Nkosi emphasized the importance of monitoring and evaluation. And perhaps I just spoke perhaps a bit too superficially about that, because that's indeed very much at the heart of the Decadal plan. I mean, we cannot be the Department of Science and Innovation and not in a very systematic way track our progress, because it's that information from the tracking which informs then our revisions and our strategy. Because as indeed Honourable Mazone said, this is a living document. But let me ask, first of all, Deputy Director General Gugu Zwane. She's responsible for a portfolio we call institutional planning and support, which includes a lot of the work on the actual development of these plans and then the monitoring and evaluation, just to elaborate on the M&E aspect. Gugu, over to you.
Thank you, Dan. Good morning, honorable members. Good morning to my DSI colleagues. Can I please request to switch off my video, Honorable Chair? I do have network problems. Thank you for the question. In terms of M&E, the Decadal plan is quite explicit on Chapter 10 in terms of what we thought we would follow around making sure that there's proper monitoring and evaluation. Firstly, starting by doing reflections, looking at learning and evidence-based policy and decision-making. This has translated very well as well in terms of the current NTDP and the planning process that we continue to monitor, and going forward, making sure that we address issues that were not maybe as prevalent in our last strategy or in our current strategy, which is coming to an end, by ensuring continuous M&E. And in terms of the policies internally, we are currently towards finalization of the NSI M&E framework. The approach is to monitor the rest of the NSI, but to help us with that, the Decadal plan does have a number of indicators, which some of them are new, that would assist in monitoring, evaluation, and policy learning. Some we do have baselines taken from various avenues and areas and other documents and studies within the national system of innovation nationally, but some are new, and the baseline would then be determined after the first measurement has been done, and then we work on that going forward. We are looking at a number of them, like economic indicators. We would continue to look at patents. We would continue to look at the skills in terms of people that we are coming out of the system, like we have presented in terms of qualifications, your PhDs and so on. There's quite a number of them which the Honorable honorable members could look at in Chapter 10 of the Decadal Plan. But most importantly, the framework that we are finalizing is looking at the role of NACI as an advisory council, but at the same time, what then do we look at as a department and within the bigger scheme of things of the NSI, including issues such as transformation, etc. So like Acting DG said, it is quite up there in the agenda, making sure that we monitor and evaluate, and out of that learn and then make decisions based on what was in terms of what was achieved for that particular period. Thank you, Acting DG, and thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Gugu, for that. The Honourable Nkosi spoke about we said that the Decadal Plan it's all about Team South Africa as a whole. It's a plan for all of South Africa. So that means we need to work at public understanding, awareness, support, engagement with science. So I'm going to ask my colleague, Deputy Director General Imran Patel, he's responsible for what portfolio we call Research and Development Support, to speak about that on our science engagement. And whilst he has the floor, I'll also ask Imran just to reflect on the investment decisions, the funding of R&D from his portfolio's perspective. It's also in Imran's portfolio where we have oversight of the National Research Foundation to ensure that the identification of those priority investment areas are based on an evidence-based manner. So Imran, over to you.
Thanks. Good morning to the honourable members and to the chair and to my colleagues. Yeah, let me start with, and I hope my connectivity is not going to let me down. I might have to switch off my camera at some stage. It seems quite low today for some reason. So just on the communications, this has been identified as a priority over many, many decades. I mean, I think since the first white paper, and over time we evolved a program of work and a strategy around this called public engagement with science. We went through a big debate. It's not simply about telling people what science exists, but it's to get into a genuine dialogue with communities of different types, whether it's business people, school students, politicians, etc., around science and its impact on society. This science engagement strategy was finalized a couple of years back. And on that basis, we had put in place some institutional improvements. The first improvement is we got approval through the legislative process to amend the NRF Act to include science promotion, science engagement as an explicit function of the National Research Foundation. They used to do it, but it wasn't an explicit function. So that was done, and that helped because the NRF can then operate across the system, not just at the DSI level. The second thing that we did institutionally is we strengthened the capacity of an agency that existed under the NRF, which is called SASTA, the South African Advancement for Science and Technology. They play an immense role in terms of, for example, our National Science Week activities, in supporting science centers, in a whole range of public understanding program. And we're now building up the capacity of that entity to do a lot more than has been done in the past. The third institutional commitment we made is to gradually move to setting aside a percentage of the DSI budget holistically for science promotion activities in a coordinated way with our entities, etc. Because of the funding cuts at the moment, we may have to delay or slow down the implementation of this agreement, but it's to secure a funding pool that we can really compete in a very noisy space. I mean, someone was saying, I was just seeing a a YouTube clip that, you would, and this is not South Africa, this was Carl Sagan complaining in the US that, people don't talk science and technology as much as they should. And that is, you have to compete for eyeballs and ears, etc., in the media, and that requires resources to be able to do it. So we hope to be able to do that, and this will be supported by a stronger SASTA. And then finally, what we've done over the last two years, working very closely with SASTA, is to coordinate a lot more effectively with other players who are involved in science engagement, whether it's other government departments, they have their programs, or it's the private sector, etc., that we're wanting to look at opportunities where we can partner and get a lot more impact for our work. So it's a very exciting, vibrant program. We've done our own evidence-based work. We've done a report now trying to assess where South African citizens are in terms of key scientific questions, and we're beginning to use that data to inform targeted strategies and campaigns. But this is where I think all players, including Parliament, etc., can play a very, very big role in terms of elevating not just what we're doing in South Africa in the science and technology space, but what is science and technology doing to a whole range of areas, whether it's transport or even governance, etc. So that's just on science engagement. And I'm confident that we have a session on the 15th of October, where together with SASTA, we'll be presenting this work. So hopefully we will have a lot more opportunities to show some of the results of the survey, some of our statistics, some of our flagship programs that I just briefly mentioned at this point in time. In terms of R&D funding, particularly in terms of the NRF and its investment decisions, and using evidence for that, it's something that we've identified that we need to do a bit of work on. We have been doing this, but over the last few years, we've looked at a lot more some of the statistics and the data that is coming out. The NRF has improved its information systems. We now have a center of excellence that helps us with scientometric modeling and human capital development, etc. And we're interrogating this because in the case of a constrained budget, but not only a constrained budget, if you're looking at opportunities for co-funding, we need to be able to have a much better sense of what is actually happening in the system, where we're investing in, is that investment leading to productive outcomes, etc. So we're putting in place a tracking system, etc. This remains work in progress. Some of it is not necessarily easy to do, but we're quite confident that as within the available evidence and data that we have, that we are using that to effectively target our investments with an eye out to enhance transformation outcomes, etc. So, for example, we would create opportunities that target particular demographic groups, or the most recent priority area that we're focusing on is how to enhance our support to the historically disadvantaged institutions through a much more consolidated program of work. Thanks, Chair and DG.
Thank you very much, Imran. I'm going to go to my colleague, Dr. Mneni Mofe now. He's the Deputy Director General for Portfolio we call Socioeconomic and Innovation Partnerships. Mneni will continue on the reflection of our research and innovation investment, because it's notably in his program where we look at a budget coordination. But I'll also ask him to share his reflection on a very important theme. Several of the members mentioned, Honourable Boshoff and Honourable Nkosi and others as well, on the question of the intellectual property. So, Mneni, over to you. You're muted, Muneni. You're muted. Muted.
Oh, apologies. And thanks very much, and good morning to all honorable members. I hope I'm now audible. Just on the matter of patents, even though the slide that has been shown reflect on the performance of the emerging areas, the numbers will probably be different, but the picture will still be the same. So I think the questions that have been raised still remain relevant. One of the things that I just want to highlight is that the productivity, whether it is in terms of publications or patents, would pretty much follow the kind of trajectory in investment in research and development. So the more you have activities going, the more you are going to publish, and also the more you are going to generate intellectual property. And I think this picture just starts to reflect, even though there might be a bit of a lag, when the level of investment started to slow down up until now, as we know that the investment in R&D has gone down to even 0.61% of the GDP. So that would have to reflect also on the productivity of the system. But the other thing that I also want to highlight here is that the metrics that are used generally look at patents, but there are also other forms of intellectual properties that I think sometimes they don't get reported on. For example, when you look at what happens in the agricultural sector, you would have the plant breeders' rights, which are also an IP of their own. You also have instances where, because patenting is quite expensive, even though through the National Intellectual Property Management Office, the offices of technology transfer are being supported, but the support is not nearly enough what it should be. So it just continues to remain a bit of a challenge to really have a portfolio of patents that you probably have to maintain, because if you miss up on servicing the patent registrations, then that means that the patenting can lapse, and then you do. So some will opt for what the likes of Coca-Cola do, where you just deal with IP or in terms of the secrets. So you just do that. But the danger, of course, is that if somebody picks that up or if it leaks, then it's gone. So you got the trade secret approach, which some will go into, so that will never then become public. But we do have a challenge, though, that we need to really increase R&D activity in order to boost the registration of patents. There's also another challenge locally around patent registration or IP registrations in general, because I think over the past couple of years, we've been engaged in the process of developing the IP policy. And in the absence of an IP policy that actually does proper examination, you might end up with a system that is just a registration process. So you register anything that comes through as an IP without doing proper examination, and hence the value of such a patent really it's not worth the paper it's written on. So that's why you therefore have to look at other systems of registration that may be cumbersome, that may take longer, that may also be more costly, like looking at provisions for international registrations that will cover more jurisdictions, or people trying to then look at your US and UK and EU registrations. But still, we need to find a concerted effort of boosting local IP registrations. And I'd like to just say IP globally, not just patents, because there are other forms that we need to look into. So we are quite concerned and would want to really look at, probably through the National Intellectual Property Management Office, provide more support and more guidance on how to handle and how to register for IP before we really move into commercialization. Because if we don't do that, we are going to find ourselves dealing with all sorts of challenges around IP leakage. There are a number of instruments that have been recently introduced to support commercialization, which would then avoid the IP leakage. For example, the acting DG did mention the implementation of the Innovation Fund, and we are beginning to see it at least encouraging institutions to take their IP towards commercialization. But the more we have in terms of IP registration, the more we are going to have in terms of commercialization as well. So that really remains a challenge that we're going to need to deal with. So I just want to stop at that, and maybe my colleague can also add. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Maneni, for that. And I'm going to go now to Dr. Rakeshni Ramutar-Prishal. She's our Acting Deputy Director General for a portfolio we call Technology Innovation, which notably has the oversight for an institution already referred to, the National Intellectual Property Management Office. So Rakeshni, if I could ask you, given also your extensive experience in this area, just to reflect perhaps on the broader innovation challenge, and then specifically the questions of intellectual property. Rakeshni, over to you.
DG, good morning, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members. I think DDG Moefe covered a lot of the issues. The IPR Act does call for the framework and guidance around and regulatory framework for how we protect IP within the country. And it also looks at establishing the National Intellectual Property Management Office, which reports into the DSI. And there are a number of activities led by NIPMO, and in terms of addressing some of the challenges that we face sector-wide. And a lot of this looks at, as an example, awareness campaigns, and they've successfully partnered with a number of embassies, countries where they've got this right almost in terms of protecting their IP, disclosing their IP. And the World Intellectual Property Office has also partnered with NIPMO to run a number of awareness campaigns that extends beyond universities and goes to TVET colleges as well. The challenge we face in South Africa that we have over and above what Dr. Moefe was saying is that despite us putting what we call tech transfer office support across all universities, even placing skilled staff to help with the management of any IP that comes through, as well as putting in an incentive through the Department of Higher Education and Training outputs call in terms of disclosures of not just R&D outputs in terms of publications, but also on patents. What we seem to be having a problem with is that a lot of IP owners are happy to just license their IP to a big corporate or industry partner, instead of taking it and looking and exploring avenues to have a startup or commercialize the IP in a way that increases jobs and starts looking at job security for the country. One of the things that is on our table is looking at pushing industry-university partnerships stronger, as well as also considering how we can amend the IPR Act to be more supportive of the innovation challenges that we face in the country. You've seen our patent activity, our IP and innovation activities declining, and despite the awareness campaigns and training workshops, a lot more needs to be done. And I think this will be revealed once the IP and tech transfer survey outcomes, and that whole process is completed and the outcomes have been reported. We'll be able to map those both from a quantitative as well as a qualitative perspective and guide us in shaping how the department responds to the innovation challenge across the ecosystem. Thank you, Acting DG.
Thank you very much, Rakeshni. Honourable Chair, honourable members, first of all, let me just mention that they didn't speak but just to show that we are here in full force. We also have on this call Deputy Director General Nombiselo Mokoena, who's responsible for corporate services, Ms. Winnie Pillay, who is the Acting Deputy Director General for International Cooperation, and also our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Robert Shaku, and then several other DSI officials. Honourable Chair, honourable members, I think we've responded to all the questions. Perhaps just some concluding remarks from me and to reflect, first of all, on the comment Honourable Mazone and also Ramongala made. Yes, indeed, the Decadal Plan is a living document. It's really an enabling framework, and it was written really to be responsive and to be able to be sensitive to unfolding science and technology developments, unfolding developments in the economy, in society, and also within the landscape of our government and our country. So yeah, at this stage, it's not that we will be coming with formal annual revisions of the plan, but the implementation plans, the different initiatives being implemented as part of the Decadal Plan, that's certainly going to be sensitive to developments and subject to constant revision and enhancement, informed also by the monitoring and the policy focus. And that's certainly very much part of the engagement we are privileged and look forward to have with the honourable members of this committee, because it's also your guidance and advice which will support us in that work. And I think it was very clear that, and perhaps because we tend to highlight the metric, the indicator of patents, that we had a lot of discussion on that. But of course, it's not the patents per se. It's really, Honourable Boshoff spoke about this. I mean, the problem statement is, how do we use this knowledge, the scientific excellence in our science system, and then how do we translate that into products and services which make an input into the economy through technological commercialization and as revenue, create employment opportunities. So and that is at the heart of the challenge of the work which this department will do. So hopefully we've provided some background on that. I think just to emphasize again the point about partnerships, and Honourable Mazone spoke about very rightly that the work we do is directly linked, whether it's the Department of Energy and Electricity was mentioned, Department of Communications and Digital Technologies. We could also think of forestry, fisheries and environment, agriculture, trade, industry and competition, transport, etc. We're only going to unlock the potential of science, technology, and innovation to make the difference in the economy and society. It should, if we work in very close partnership with our sister departments. And that's currently also one of our key focus areas, as the honourable members are aware. Government's in the process of finalising the medium-term development plan and making sure we integrate science, technology, and innovation in that manner, as in close partnership with all the sister departments mentioned. Will be a strategic objective for us, and it's certainly an engagement we look forward to engage with this committee and Parliament. Honourable Chair, I will conclude with those remarks. I think we've responded to all the questions of the honourable members for this round. Thank you.
Thank you, PG and your team for such responses. We thank you, colleagues, for availing yourself. I am having a terrible flu, so I will not. My apologies if I'm not properly audible. But we are grateful for your time, and we thank you as the Portfolio Committee for availing yourself to present both the white paper and the Decadal Plan. We will then release you from this platform. We'll remain with honourable members to continue with the business of the Portfolio Committee. Thank you so much, Acting DG.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair, honourable members. Best wishes to everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
And is it all of us here, or we still have the department?
No, I think they all left now, Chair.
Okay, thank you, honorable members. Can we now proceed to our business of the portfolio committee? We have minutes. Shanaz, are you ready with the minutes?
Okay, Chair, so the minutes that we are adopting is for the 10th, the 17th, and the 18th of July, and then the 20, 23, and 27th of August. I resent the minutes unless, I don't know, how do we want to proceed? Are we going to do it per set? Did members read the minutes, or shall we just flight it? Or I'm not sure. Direction, Chair?
Okay, honorable members, do you want us to go through the minutes, or you have went through them, we just adopt them? How do you want us to proceed?
Honorable Chair, if I could contribute.
Yes,
I think we the minutes, and I believe it would be a little bit, what shall we say, unnecessary to go through the minutes. If a member has something which was missed in the minutes, then one can, mention it, and it could be rectified if all members agree. But otherwise, we are going to use a lot of time to have our meeting a second time. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Boshoff. Is there any dissenting view from what Honorable Boshoff has suggested?
Chair, if you would repeat yourself, I did not hear you before, or Honorable Boshoff came in. What was the proposal?
The proposal was that we proceed with because members have received the minutes, we must then ask members to contribute where they think that there's something that was omitted or they want to add something. Instead of us going through what we have went through ourselves. So because we have received minutes, you can just contribute where you think that we have missed something from the previous meetings. That was the suggestion, that we don't read out minutes, we allow members to make their contribution to the minutes. Because we have received minutes, I think Chanaza sent them last week and then she has resent them again. So that was the suggestion. Can we proceed with that suggestion?
Okay, Chair. I'm in support with that suggestion, though. Can the minutes be flighted date by date so that we have them on the screen, that we are dealing with the minutes of the 18th, so and forth? Just be flighted on the screen, and then we proceed in that way. Yes, we did receive the minutes in time. I agree then, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Songo. We can Shanaz, can we flight the minutes and then we allow day by day from the first ones, and we allow honorable members to engage them.
Am I audible, Chair?
Yes, you are, Shanaz.
Okay, so that's the 10th of July. So we must just check the attendance, because not everybody, we must just be careful who move for the adoption and who second. It must be of those members that were present. So this was the first meeting where we wanted to elect the chair, where the person or the member elected declined the nomination. That was the process that was followed, and then the meeting concluded. So that's the 10th of July.
Thank you very much. Or should I wait for the chair?
Chair, you're going to put the minutes formally to the meeting?
Shanaz?
Yes, Chair?
Okay. Can we proceed? Are you done with the
I
first?
move that we adopt the minutes of the 10th of July as a true reflection of what transpired in the meeting. Thank you.
All right.
We need a seconder.
Seconders, honorable members. Any seconder?
I'm Wynand Boshoff, I will second.
Thank you, Honorable Boshoff. Shanaz, can we move to the next minutes?
Oh. July 17th. 17th of July, can we see?
Can
The
we
17th, yeah.
Can we have a mover for adoption of the minutes of the 17th of July?
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Shongo, I move that we adopt the minutes of the 17th as a true reflection of the meeting of the 17th. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Shongo. Can we have a seconder?
Wynand Boshoff, I will second, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Boshoff. Can we proceed to the next minutes? Shanaz?
Yes, that's true. Let me just see. 18. Can we see it? It was a short meeting. It was just a consideration of the report.
When was the date?
The 18th of July. Is it on the screen?
Yes, it's on the screen. It's on the screen, Shanaz. Can we have a mover for adoption of the minutes of what's
Again,
the date?
that Chair,
18th.
I move I adopt the minutes of the 18th. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Shongo. Any seconder?
Chair, with danger of becoming boring, I will second, Wynand Boshoff.
Thank you, Honorable Boshoff. Thank you for
Let's go to the...
Proceed, Shanaz.
Okay, we go to the 20th. August 20 is our start with the entities, and we have DSI and NACI and NRF.
Thank you, Shanaz. Can we have a mover for the adoption of the minutes? 20 August.
Thanks, Chair. At least now I was a member. I kept quiet because of the other minutes. I was not a member yet. Yes, Chair, I move for the adoption of the minutes. Thanks.
Thank you, Honorable Sapo. Any seconder?
I second the adoption of the minutes, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Songo. Can we proceed to the...
Okay, 27.
Shanaz?
Oh, is that now the 23rd? Sorry. So 23rd is the HSRC and TIA.
Yeah. 23rd. What?
HSRC and TIA.
It's
23rd.
Okay. Can we have a move of adoption of the minutes?
Thank you, Chair. I move that to adopt the minutes of the 23rd of August. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Songo. Can we have a seconder?
Thank you, Chair. Sorry. I move for secondment of the minutes of the 23rd of August.
Thank you, Honorable Nkosi. Can we move to the next minutes, Shanaz?
The 27th, Chair. And that was our Rosebank one with the Space Agency and CSIR.
Can we have a mover for adoption?
Wynand Boshoff, I will move for adoption.
Honorable Boshoff, can we have a seconder?
Honorable Ngosi, I second the adoption of the minutes, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Nkosi. Can we proceed, Shanaz? Are we done?
We can, Chair, with this 6 sets of minutes for July and August.
Okay. Thank you so much, honorable members. Our minutes of previous meetings have been duly adopted and seconded. You can enjoy the rest of your day. This is the end of our portfolio committee meeting. Thank you. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Pambo, where's Honorable Pambo, guys?
Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Now that we are done, Honorable Pambo, we've missed you. Yeah.